Today we've been talking about myths, common myths that happen in menopause, and I want to talk to you about another common myth that I hear all the time. And that is, menopause happens when you're older. How many of you think that menopause happens when you're older? Well, let me tell you, the mean age of menopause is 51 years, and the range is 46 to 55. But 5 to 10% of women go into menopause at age 45 or under. 5 to 10%. And 1% of women goes into menopause before age 40. That means in an auditorium this size, there are going to be several people that are going to go into menopause before age 40. And the symptoms begin up to 10 years before that. So what happens is women who are in their late 30s, early 40s start having these symptoms. They have no energy. They start to have foggy thinking. They can't sleep, sensitive bladder, lower intimacy. How many times I've heard this, I can't even begin to tell you. Let me tell you how it plays out in my office. Janet is 28 years old. She's single. She's got a boyfriend. She's very high power. She's got a great job in the financial sector of Boston. And she's having some really irregular periods. They got really wonky on her. So she comes in, fix me, not a big deal. So we do a regular evaluation. And in the course of the evaluation, I find out that Janet's in early menopause. Let me tell you, that's a one box of Kleenex discussion. Believe me. The next person I want to tell you about is a woman named Paula. Paula is also a very successful woman. She has her own job. She's an entrepreneur. And she and her husband, who've been married now for almost 5 years, they have decided that they want to have a kid. And they've been trying, but it's not working. Things aren't going well. And she comes in to see if I have any suggestions or anything because she's already tried everything. So in the course of my evaluation, I find out that Paula is going into early menopause. Now this throws a real monkey wrench in everything, right? It really does. Let me tell you about the third woman, Sandra. And Sandra is very typical of many women that I'm seeing today in increasing numbers. Sandra is 35. Sandra has a very, very, very strong history of breast cancer and ovarian cancer in her family. So she gets tested for the BRCA gene, the breast cancer gene. And it's positive. It's positive. That means she has about a 5-fold increase of breast cancer and about a 10-fold increase of ovarian cancer. So she elects to have her tubes in her ovaries removed so that she'll be in a position to lower her risk of those two very serious conditions. She'll lower her risk of breast cancer by 50%. She'll lower her risk of ovarian cancer by 90%. But she's also going to go into early menopause. And she's already talked with her oncologist, and the oncologist says, well, we're worried about breast cancer. We're not going to give you any hormones. You'll have to tough it out. And she's petrified. Because in typical person, natural hormone levels decline gradually. But when you surgically take out the ovaries, boom, the hormones drop down to nothing from very robust levels, and the symptoms are so severe. And here's the information that you must know. We now have evidence to show and prove that women with the BRCA gene who get estrogen after they have their ovaries out don't increase their risk of having breast cancer. It doesn't happen, no more than the background possibility. Incredibly important information for you to know. So what I want to explain to you is, in these three scenarios, all different, they're all bound by a common thread, and that is that menopause happens as a transition. It's not about age. It's about transition. And the sooner that you can figure it out, the sooner you won't have to tough it out. Thank you.